I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Welcome. You had many places you could be tonight, such as watching a geriatric patient lie his ass off to the nation, but you chose to be here with me. And for that, I am forever grateful. Tonight, we're going to talk a lot about China. There are some things that are happening right now with China that a lot of you probably are not aware of. And some of it is pretty damn frightening. These are all things that Joe Biden will not be discussing tonight. And there are also things that he probably doesn't want we the people to know about. So let's kick this off. Tonight's lead story. The Biden administration claimed a victory over the weekend after shooting down a Chinese surveillance balloon that spent a few days in U.S. airspace, but Republican lawmakers made it clear they thought there was nothing successful about the U.S. handling of the situation and said the episode raises several questions about how to protect U.S. national security. While Congress will be asking the Biden administration many questions as it investigates the incident and U.S. officials' response to it, there are at least 5 questions that are being pressed by lawmakers right now that Joe Biden should be answering tonight, and he's not going to. And these are 5 questions that every American should be asking. Number 1, why did Biden wait so long to take action with this balloon? Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the shooting down of the balloon on Saturday shows the Biden administration will always put the safety and security of the American people first while responding efficiently to China's unacceptable violation of our sovereignty. Boy, that's a crock of shit. But that left Republicans asking, if American national security is so important, why did Biden not order the shoot down before it entered U.S. airspace and over Alaska? Allowing a spy balloon from the Communist Party of China to travel across the entire continental United States before contesting its presence is a dangerous projection of weakness by this White House, said Senate Armed Service Ranking Member Roger Wicker. It is clear that standard protocol for defense of U.S. airspace had been ignored. The administration should have taken care of this before it became a national security threat, House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCall said. I hope we'll be able to recover the wreckage to help determine what intelligence China collected while its spy balloon was over our country for days. The second question that Joe Biden should be answering tonight, and he's not going to, is he worried about national security or bad press? Some say there are signs that Biden only decided to shoot down the balloon after his presence in U.S. airspace became widely known in the public and wanted to know whether Biden was content to let it float across the U.S. at 60,000 feet. If it never became public knowledge, would he have let it continue and not said anything nor shot it down? Glad we finally knocked Communist China's spy balloon out of the sky, said Senator Rick Scott, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Now, Joe Biden needs to explain why he tried to hide Chinese espionage from Congress and the American people. What else is he not telling us? If press reports are correct, the Biden administration hoped to hide this incident from the American people from the start, Weger said. The White House owes Congress and the American people answers about this failure, and I intend to get those answers without delay, he said. Number 3, why wasn't Congress informed? Several Republicans are upset over the failure of the administration to keep lawmakers in the loop. The Committee on Homeland Security of the U.S. Congress and, quote, equal branch of government should not be finding out about a China spy balloon over Montana in the news. And that's how they found out about it. Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green said, on Monday, Senator Tom Cotton, another member of the Senate Armed Service Committee, complained that the Biden administration and congressional Democrats aren't in any way particular of a hurry to bring lawmakers up to date. He was reacting to an announcement from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer that key lawmakers would be briefed next week on February 15th. The president lets a Chinese spy balloon float across American heartland, and Senator Schumer responds his previously scheduled generic briefing on China 9 days from now, not serious. Number 4, why was the balloon able to send back data to China? The Pentagon said that while it waited a few days in order to down the balloon safely, it also acted immediately to protect it against the collection of sensitive information. But some with experience in that field said it's doubtful the U.S. was able to stop the balloon from collecting and transmitting data while it was still afloat. With all due respect to the Pentagon, I think that's bullshit. They're saying that to protect their ego and image, said Brandon Wechard, author of Winning Space. This is a long-range surveillance mission, partially from comments made from the Pentagon about the possibility of going to war with China. And I reported on that over the last 2 episodes of this show. Rebecca Colfer, a former Defense Intelligence Agency officer specializing in foreign aerospace, said there is a high probability that the Chinese government infiltrated sensitive U.S. data through its spy balloon. These insights are very useful for China in developing deterrent strategies for dissuading the United States from intervening in China's future aggression towards Taiwan. And number 5, what is Biden doing about other Chinese surveillance threats? Senator Rick Scott said the Chinese balloon is just one surveillance tactic, and the U.S. needs to stop buying drones from China. That's right. Our government's buying their drones made in China. This surveillance balloon is concerning, but it's just the start of it, Scott tweeted. For years, the United States has purchased drones manufactured in communist China with your tax dollars, allowing one of our biggest adversaries into the most sensitive areas of our government. It must end. Former Secretary of State Michael Pomno added that the U.S. government needs to eliminate the Chinese app TikTok, which is also collecting data on U.S. citizens. China uses TikTok as a tool to influence propaganda inside the United States. Instead of banning it, as we attempted to do in the Trump administration, Biden invites TikTok influencers to the White House, he wrote in an op-ed yesterday. You know, there are some things you just couldn't make up if you tried. And what I'm fixing to share with you about China, besides this balloon, is going to blow your freaking mind. Trust me. Here we go. Drum roll, please. A Chinese police station in New York City's Chinatown was raided by the FBI and shut down, according to the State Department. I'll repeat that. A Chinese police station in New York City's Chinatown has been raided by the FBI and shut down, according to our State Department. The office, tucked away on the third floor of a six-story building, was reportedly part of a network of Chinese police outposts that are situated around the world that officials say China could be using to spy on foreign countries and keep tabs on its people abroad. The FBI raided it, seized material from one of the secretive operations for the first time known to the public. Now, a State Department spokesperson told National Review that the station is no more. The New York Times reported that the outpost was set up by the Chinese. The result of the FBI search still aren't clear. The spokesman didn't clarify when the station was closed, but added, "We take this issue very seriously," and said the department is working with U.S. allies to combat Chinese repression abroad, National Review reported. They set up law enforcement centers with police officers, Chinese police officers in New York City. More than 100 of the so-called Chinese police outposts have been identified around the world by the human rights group Safeguard Defenders. China said the outposts are mainly staffed by volunteers who help Chinese nationals, but reporting indicates they also collect intelligence, solve crimes without involving local authorities, no shit, and even persuade people to return to China, according to the Times. FBI Director Christopher Wray, that useless piece of shit, said that he's very concerned about the outposts, which he called police stations. It is outrageous to think that the Chinese police would attempt to set up shop in New York. It violates sovereignty and circumvents standard judicial and law enforcement cooperation processes here in our own country. Maybe at these police stations that China was running, they found some classified documents from Biden's time as vice president, or maybe when he was in Congress, as we continue to find out that they're finding. First, TikTok, then spy balloons, then the police stations, and now American farmland is shifting into focus as a critical point of contention between the United States and communist China. A recent report details a disturbing effort by Chinese companies to buy up farmland near U.S. military bases. Fox Business reported on this yesterday. It's also been reported on several different outlets. Even CNN reported on it. Even MSNBC reported on it. I have not, because there was so much conflicting information from the different reports that I waited until I knew that I had what I believe at least is factual information, which I'm going to share with you now. The Chinese ownership of U.S. farmland has skyrocketed over the past decade, increasing 20-fold from 81 million back in 2010 to 1.9 billion last year. Chinese landowners are estimated to control over 383,000 acres of U.S. farmland, including locations near and surrounding many of our military installations. The report also referenced the Fufeng Group, a Chinese-based chemical company that recently acquired 300 acres of land in Grand Forks, North Dakota. The operation is just 12 miles from Grand Forks Air Force Base, which is home to U.S. intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance units and top secret drone technology. China's land grab poses a substantial national security threat. Michael Pillsbury, who was Trump's top White House official on China, told Fox Business News Network, "It's a very important subject, and it's a good example of a larger problem. The U.S. Air Force reportedly sent a letter to North Dakota Senator John Hoeven pleading for legislation addressing the national security concerns. A letter doesn't stop anything, Pillsbury said. There have been some attempts by lawmakers to call attention to this issue. Senator Mike Rounds has reportedly been lobbying his Senate colleagues to draft a bill to prevent Chinese farmland from being acquired right here in America. But the most decisive action to prohibit Chinese investments in American farmland is likely to come from the state governments and not the Biden administration or the federal government. According to the National Agricultural Law Center, 22 states now are weighing measures to restrict foreign land ownership. Just last week, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin released a video calling on the General Assembly to prohibit dangerous foreign entities tied to China from purchasing Virginia's farmland. Youngkin had previously blocked plans by Ford Motors to construct a plant in partnership with a Chinese company. In January, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issued a stern warning to Chinese investors about buying up his state's farmland. If you look at the Chinese Communist Party, they've been very active throughout the Western Hemisphere in grabbing up land. That is not in the best interest of the state of Florida to have the Chinese Communist Party owning farmland, owning land that surrounds our military bases. Florida CFO Jimmy Parson agreed. I applaud the governor's leadership on this issue. When we have got the Biden administration with their globalist policies, it's not like leaving a key under the mat. They're leaving the whole damn house open. Governor DeSantis has said he is considering a ban on Chinese investments of Florida land. Governor DeSantis and the other 22 governors need to step up the pace, along with all the rest of the governors across America, because this is absolutely bullshit. And of course, we all know that the new Republican House is going to be investigating Joe and Hunter with all their business dealings with China and with Ukraine. See a pattern here? There's a reason why they let this balloon fly completely across the United States of America. Now, we've had some reporters from a few in the very beginning from CNN, which they've now corrected the reporting, and MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, the Washington Post, many other type, especially leaning left organizations, have come out and outright lied and said this is no different than under the Trump administration, when Trump allowed numerous China balloons to fly across America. That was all a lie. We now know from the Pentagon, and we know from the people that were in charge at the Defense Department at the time and Homeland Security at the time, that that never happened. There were, however, 3 separate incidents where China tried to send balloons into America. And we politely told them, turn it around or lose it. And they did. At no time did China ever fly a spy balloon across America. Now, CNN reported, along with all the rest of those liberal rags, that that had actually happened. And now CNN, thankfully, is correcting it and saying that wasn't true at all. A man and woman were arrested and charged in an alleged hate-fueled conspiracy to attack the state of Maryland's power grid and leave thousands without electricity. Brandon Clip Russell of Florida and Sarah Beth Clendaniel of Maryland have both been charged with conspiracy to destroy an energy facility. The FBI's Baltimore field office and a U.S. attorney in Maryland announced yesterday. If convicted, they each face a maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. according to a press release provided to American Military News. This planned attack threatened lives that would have left thousands of people in the cold and dark, Maryland U.S. Attorney Eric Barron said in his release statement. The arrest came a month after 2 men were charged over Christmas Day attacks on 4 power stations in Washington state. Those attacks had come just weeks after tens of thousands of people lost power when targeted gunfire took out 2 North Carolina substations. Officials alleged that from at least June of last year, Russell had planned attacks on electrical substations to further his radical or motivated violent extremist beliefs, according to the release. The criminal complaint notes that Russell was the founder of a local neo-Nazi group called the Otto Waffen Division, with cells in multiple states, according to the release. Daniel collaborated on the attack plans, identifying 5 substations she would target and conspired to secure weapons to do so. Daniel allegedly said that if successful, their plan would probably permanently, completely lay these cities to waste. She had allegedly said they would completely destroy this whole city if they target a number of substations on the same day, adding that good 4 or 5 shots through the center of them should make that happen, according to the release. The threat posed by domestic violent extremists is evolving and persistent, said the FBI. We are united in committing to use every legal means necessary to disrupt violence, including hate-fueled attacks. I wonder if they got their assistants to do this from China. Hope the FBI keeps us all in the loop on what they're finding out about all this shit, don't you? The nation's top group representing sheriffs across America urged top Democrat and Republican lawmakers to oppose President Biden's nominee for the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC. The National Sheriff's Association, NSA, said Gigi Sean, who Biden recommended for a vacant FCC seat last month after a nomination stalled in 2022 over concerns about her views, has promoted alarming statements about law enforcement. NSA President Greg Champagne and Government Affairs Committee Chairman Jim Skinner, who are both sheriffs, announced the group's opposition to Schoen in a letter sent out Monday to leaders in the Senate Commerce Committee, which oversees the FCC nominations. The National Sheriff's Association opposes the nomination of Gigi Sean to serve as Commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission. Law enforcement officers across the country risk their lives every day to protect and serve our communities. They deserve the support of senior officials and the federal government who help to set policy. Unfortunately, Ms. Schoen has failed to provide such support by using her social media sites to promote alarming statements that degrade law enforcement. They note that Schoen has used her Twitter account to like and retweet posts from Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, aka AOC, arguing in favor of defunding the police. The letter added that Schoen once liked a troubling tweet that suggested a few bad cops should represent all cops. The public knows that the vast majority of sworn law enforcement officers perform impossible tasks daily and deserve the support of our public officials, Champagne and Skinner said. On behalf of the 3,080 sheriffs of the NSA, we urge you to stand up for our nation's law enforcement professionals by opposing Ms. Schoen's nomination to serve as the FCC commissioner. In addition to the Sheriff's Association, the Federal Order of Police has also opposed Schoen for her anti-police views. The group wrote to Cantwell and Cruz last month that it has no confidence in her ability to objectively perform the duties of the FCC commissioner, and that she would be a terrible choice to serve on the FCC. Schoen has also faced criticism for once sharing a tweet saying that former President Donald Trump was a raggedy white supremacist president and sitting on the board of organized oppositions to anti-sex trafficking laws. Schoen has been a vocal proponent of net neutrality. The Chamber of Commerce, the nation's largest business industry group, has warned of Schoen's extreme views and reiterated its call for Senate to reject her nomination. Schoen's views on issues including law enforcement ultimately led to her nomination stalling after moderate Democrats expressed concerns just last year. Left-wing interest groups led by the Communications Workers of America, though, have since unleashed an aggressive campaign in favor of Schoen's nomination. Why does Biden keep picking people that are racist, that are bigot, that are anti-law enforcement, that are anti-military, that are anti-gun, anti-constitutional rights? CNN is reporting that FBI counterintelligence world has been rocked by one of their own. FBI agent Charles F. McConnell, formerly the FBI's top counterintelligence official in New York, has been indicted for allegedly selling access to Russian and Albanian officials in exchange for hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. After retiring from the FBI in 2018, McGargle is accused of illegally working with one of Russia's most notorious criminals, who just so happened to be linked to the FBI's Russian probe with ties to Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. Former FBI officials who worked with McGargle told CNN they were stunned, disappointed, and pissed off when they learned the news. One called the charges horrifying. This guy was unbelievably respected and really seen as a career counterintelligence expert, according to a former senior FBI official who worked with him. He was one of those rock stars in counterintelligence who, when hard jobs, when very sensitive assignments came up, he was on the short list of people that you would look to and say, hey, where's Charlie? What's he doing for the next 6 months? Speculation has swirled around the potential damage that he may have caused, including whether he exposed any sensitive information that could damage U.S. national security. As a senior counterintelligence official, he had access to some of the most sensitive information in the FBI's possession, as well as the CIA and other agency informations within the federal government. He would also have been able to have access to FBI collection techniques and operations against Russian diplomats in the U.S. There are also questions over his proximity to severe high-profile investigations, including those involving, guess who? Hillary Clinton. He helped oversee parts of both probes into Hillary Clinton and Trump. That's all sparked a strong interest in McGargle, including most recently from Congressman Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, the top Democrat of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who is demanding a briefing on the true extent of which Mr. McGargle's alleged misconduct may have impacted these highly sensitive matters, including whether he compromised sensitive sources, methods, and analysts, and whether his alleged misconduct materially impacted the outcome of any of the investigations or further compromised our national security. Another high-ranking official in our FBI. House Judiciary Republicans said they have launched their own investigation into this matter. Peter Lapp, a former FBI counterintelligence agent who once worked with McGargle, told CNN of his conduct is absolutely embarrassing to the FBI. Sources briefed on the matter tell CNN that at least for now, FBI officials view him not as a spy, but more as a corrupt former FBI official looking to make a buck on his way out the door in retirement. He had been promoted to handling some of the most sensitive counterintelligence cases in the FBI files, including a high-stakes investigation into a spat of CIA assets that have been killed or otherwise lost in where? Drum roll, please. China. This is it's nuts. It's absolutely insane what we're witnessing at all levels of our government. And they're treating it like it's a fucking joke. Speaking of a joke, a Los Angeles City Councilman who has expressed support for defunding and ultimately abolishing the police is under fire after his office called the LAPD to patrol a staffer's broken down Lexus. A staffer for Democrat Los Angeles City Council member Hugo Soto Martinez called the LAPD Wednesday evening of last week, asking for extra patrols throughout the night for his parked white Lexus after the vehicle broke down. According to reports, Soto Martinez, who represents LA's District 13, previously identified himself as a police abolishment on a Los Angeles City Council candidate questionnaire. VP of Los Angeles Police Protective League Sergeant Jared Sendoza slammed the hypocrisy from the far-left official yesterday. Apparently, the councilman and his staff want to abolish the police for everyone but themselves, he said. It is the complete height of hypocrisy. We have a serious crime problem in LA. We have murder, we have homeless encampments, we have robberies, we have home invasions. And then you have a councilman calling because his car broke down. That's unbelievable, she said. We're down 700 police officers in LA. They're spread thin. And you have a councilman that's using his influence to have a police officer come to monitor his vehicle because it's broken down. How about calling AAA, she said. When reached for comment on the call, the councilman told Fox 11 Los Angeles that he's upset by the incident. It's come to our attention that a deputy staffer had some contact with the LAPD regarding his personal vehicle. We are investigating this matter internally and will be taking appropriate action. Councilmember Soto Martinez is very upset as this does not reflect the values of transparency, responsible governance, of being accountable to the community that elected him, the statement read. Sendoza called the response unbelievable and arguing Soto Martinez's accountability includes protecting the citizens in the district from crime, and that's not happening. They don't want the police. They want the police to go away. But if something happens to them, oh, dial 911. It's also irresponsible and dangerous to want to abolish the police and to stand behind that and to say that they're going to investigate their own staffer, she said. It's hard to believe that the staffer didn't get directions from the councilman. I mean, it's his car, right? I think that they're backtracking on their campaign promise to abolish the police and to defund the police. So I don't buy that one a single bit, she said. Sendoza believes staffer was using their position to get special treatment, arguing a regular citizen would not have been able to receive police help to watch the broken down vehicle. I don't understand how this person got elected into office. But he definitely needs to step down if he's not willing to protect his constituents and also protect the city of Los Angeles, Senators concluded. Do as I say, not as I do. So we've talked about climate change on and off on this show and the absolute insanity that those on the left are willing to go to. I mean, we've heard every excuse you can possibly think of, right? Wrong. This next story comes from the what the fuck department, because it doesn't get more insane than this. I promise you, when I'm done sharing this with you about a climate change advocate, you're going to think it's a Saturday Night Live skit gone bad, because it's that damn stupid. Just how crazy are climate change advocates? Well, the American Society of Anesthesiologists deleted an article from its website this week highlighting research and comments from a doctor who advocates for reducing anesthesia that's given in surgeries to combat climate change. Couldn't make this up if you freaking tried. It would never, in my wildest imaginations, enter my mind. The ASA, which is the nation's premier research and scientific association represented anesthesiology field, explained that the January 27th article appeared to be inaccurate, but declined to provide further information. The 56,000 member group received criticism from giving a platform to the viewpoint that some considered dangerous to start with. The now deleted article stated that inhaled anesthesia used during general anesthesia are responsible for up to 0.1% of the world's total carbon dioxide emissions. Jesus Christ. During a single hour of surgery in which you're under anesthesia is roughly the same amount of carbon emissions as produced by driving a car 470 miles. Climate activists have argued that governments need to quickly cut back on carbon emissions to fight global warming. Anesthesiologists can play a role in reducing the greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global warming by decreasing the amount of anesthesia gas provided during procedures without compromising patient care. The ASA release stated. Dr. Mohammed Faid, an anesthesiast, resident physician at the Henry Ford Health System in Detroit, presented a study he recently authored that analyzed how doctors could reduce anesthesia during surgery to reduce the carbon footprint of operating rooms worldwide, not just here in America. He said a high fresh gas flow of anesthesia is required at the start and end of surgeries, but could be lower during the middle of the surgery. Global warming is affecting our daily life more and more, and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions has become critical, Faid said. No matter how small each effect is, it will add up. As anesthesiologists, we can contribute significantly to the cause by making little changes in our daily practices, such as lowering the flow of the anesthesia gas. For a long time, there was a notion that the greenhouse effect caused in healthcare settings was an unavoidable cost to provide patient care, he continued. But we have learned that reducing the anesthesia gas flow is one of the many ways healthcare can lessen its contribution to the global warming crisis, along with reducing waste, turning off lights and equipment when not in use, and challenging practice habits. Faid's study found that anesthesiologists could reduce the average flow of the gas during a surgery from 5 to 6 liters per minute to 3 liters per minute or less in more than 90% of surgeries. Inhaled anesthesia are a common component of many surgeries, such as open heart surgery, to ensure patients are unconscious during the invasive operation, so that the next time you have a surgeon and you're in a hospital getting a surgery and you're screaming in pain, just remember how much your pain is helping climate change. Now, look, the last thing I claim to be is a doctor or a scientist. But I do believe that the board that regulates doctors needs to look a little further into Dr. Muhammad Fayed, because that son of a bitch doesn't need to be scraping up roadkill, much less being a member of anybody conducting a surgery at a hospital. That's absolutely batshit crazy. But what do I know? Folks, you had many places to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. I ain't got a clue what the old bastard is saying right now, nor do I plan on watching it. I'll just read all the reports on it throughout the night. When it's over with, I will watch the rebuttal to see that. And maybe I'll put together a little something to poke fun of it later, maybe at the next show. Just imagine for a moment if you're Joe Biden. How do you go in front of Congress and address the American people with good news without lying? You can't. All he's doing is blaming the shit on other people. Everybody's responsible for him. And you know what? He has a point in a way, because sadly, he's mentally incapable of being our president, and he doesn't know what the hell he's saying. I don't even know if he knows he's the president. It's kind of like elder abuse, to be honest with you, that they allow him to go in front of cameras, period, because of all the babbling, stupid shit that comes out of his mouth. He can't even read the teleprompter without going astray and talking about shit that's just not relevant to the conversation. He finishes up speeches and turns around to shake hands with invisible people. He gets off his helicopter on the front lawn of the White House and walks off in a direction towards a fence away from everybody in the house. And it's like he's just... I'd like to know who's running our country. Wouldn't you? It's not Joe Biden. That's for damn sure. But we're going to find out now that the Republicans have subpoena power and control of the House. We're going to find out real soon how deep the Biden's pockets are. It's not just Joe. It's his son, Hunter. It's Joe's brother. How deep their pockets are with China and with Ukraine. There's going to be some things that are going to be exposed to we the people in the coming weeks and months. I promise you, it's going to blow your minds. There's so many things that I've heard from my friends that are in high places that share information with me, little bits and pieces, that I laugh at. And then within a week, the shit comes true. And it's like, good God. So trust me, it's going to get very, very interesting really, really quick. And you don't want to miss this clown circus show that's being put on by these people up in Washington, D.C. My friends, if you haven't already done so, please like, subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends and family. Also, check out my other YouTube channel, Charlie Hotel 47. In the description of this video, once it goes up, as well as all my videos, you can see the different places you can follow me on social media. Also, check out DouglasDucote.com, our website. And I'll be back on Thursday, pending a few things. Right now, the show is the plan is to do the show Thursday, but there's somebody in my family that is ill right now, and I may have to attend to that and go out of the area to check on them. But we'll see how things go tomorrow and into Thursday. Otherwise, I plan on being here Thursday night as normal. If not, I'll put something in the community section as well as on Facebook, and I'll let you know about it. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful and blessed evening, whatever you're doing. Be safe, and I'll see you soon.